be using a spoon and a spatula. I'm actually going to try and make one a sugar scrub for the gentleman. This is going to be fragrance with tobacco and bay leaf. Definitely a nice masculine fragrance. The ingredients I use organic cane sugar. You can use white sugar or brown sugar, but I like the consistency of this one. It's nice and fine, so it's not real abrasive when you use it, but you can still feel it. So that's a good one. And let's go through. Do use some beeswax, and I get this from Nature's Garden. It's just white beeswax. And then I use, where's all my stuff? I have deodorized cocoa butter. You can use regular cocoa butter if you want, but the deodorized doesn't have that cocoa smell. Sometimes that cocoa smell with cocoa butter interferes with the fragrance. So I'm using a deodorized cocoa butter. And I am using some stearic acid. These are from Brambleberry. And then to help harden up too, I use emulsifying wax. Let's see. Oh, and I am using, I like this stuff on the skin, raw mango butter. And what else do I have here that goes in here? Oh, I'm using some shea butter from Brambleberry. So lots of good stuff in here. Liquid oils, I am using hemp seed oil. I got this online from Soap Beauty, something like that. That's what it's called. And I'm putting in argan oil. Got that on Amazon too. Clean and Green Family. I'm also putting in some jojoba oil, which is great for skin and hair and everything. And I'm also putting in apricot kernel oil, which this one's from Nature's Garden. And because this is, I don't usually use preservatives, but because this is a bath product and there can be water in there, I am putting a preservative. It's called Optifin in the sugar scrub. I think it's maybe ½ ounce. It's not a lot, but it's enough to keep, I mean, if the water gets in there, it's going to turn pretty gross, so you do need a preservative. I usually try to not have my sugar scrubs too close to the water, or so water doesn't get in there, but eventually you're going to have some water sprayed in there. And it's just a good idea to have your preservatives. So right here is my cane sugar, and I always strain it through a sieve, just in case there's any bigger particles. It catches them, because I just want these nice fine particles in there, or sugar. I have my liquid oils all ready to go. Put them all in one container, the liquid, and then I'm going to melt my hard butters, and I will bring them out shortly as soon as they're melted down. And here are my hard oils, or butters, melted down to where we want them. I'm going to put sleeves on because this stuff is very hot. And now, let me grab my liquid oils, which is right here. I'm going to get ready here, get the sugar over here, and I'm going to pour the hot butters into the liquid that has the fragrance and everything. And it's going to look kind of funky when it hits this hot hitting this cool liquid, and then the wax is hitting because they're starting to solidify. So it's going to look like a hot mess, but trust me, it's the way it's supposed to look. So let me get this going in here. It gets kind of a thicker consistency. Take my spatula. And of course, all your equipment, even these cups, you want to wash in warm, hot, soapy water. And get them all clean too before you start doing this. Now, all you do is pour this into the sugar. So just do like that. And I use my spatula to get all the other stuff. See, it's starting to set up a little bit. Stuff smells pretty good. It smells really good, actually. So, if you have a man or gentleman or son in your life, you'd like to have them try some sugar scrub and make their hands soft, or, use it on your whole body. I just thought, I never really saw any geared towards guys, so I wanted to do one towards guys. Okay, and then you stir this up really good. Just takes a minute. I buy high quality oils and butters. You can make a cheaper sugar scrub. You don't have to put all the stuff in it that I'm putting in it. And just make it your own recipe. But I find that this recipe I have, yeah, I really like it. And I think it's the one we're sticking with for our company. So just make sure everything's stirred up good. I hope I'm not jiggling this camera too much. And then I'll get the jars over here and put them into the jars. And this can get pretty messy, well, at least for me. Well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the messy one, but I'm going to pour it into one of my little cups here and then pour it into the jars. But since it does get messy, I'll go ahead and put a little pad down to help with the mess that I make. Let's pour it in here. And then we'll pour into the jars as we need it. And we get, this is an 8-ounce jar, but I fill this stuff to the very, very top. So you get your money's worth. Get it up to the top, all the way to the top, and tap it down. Make sure there's no air bubbles in there. And then get your next jar. This particular batch usually makes, what does this make? 10, 20, maybe 35 ounces, maybe. Anyway, so I do 2 like 10-ounce jars, and then I do 2 5-ounce jars, even though they're considered 4 ounces, but as heavy as this stuff is, and I pack it all the way up there. Get the little jar. They're good for samples too. You know, if you want to try a sample instead of getting a big jar, see how you like it. Always get a little jar. So I'm over here reaching for my jars. So yeah, it's usually 2 10 ounces and 2 5 ounces, and then whatever's left over I just kind of keep for myself. Which usually isn't a whole lot, but maybe a little 5-ounce jar. But I like using this stuff too, so. So I'll make it, huh? But we use high quality stuff here, and like I said, you can make, and other people probably do make, cheaper sugars, cheaper sugar scrubs. So this one will be mine. Can't tell. Sorry if I'm off camera. I know my hand is in the way here, but let's see if I can scrape the rest of this out here. I don't want any of it to go to waste. It's already starting to set up pretty good. I'll get all my dishes ready to take out. And then, that's fine. Let me change gloves because these got really oily. Okay, so I have fresh dry gloves now. Now what I do is I take some, just a paper towel, and I squirt the my rubbing alcohol on it. And what you want to do is go around the threads here just to make sure there's no product on the threads. So when you go to seal it, it'll be nice and tight. And then here's the one I did. I'll give to Andrew, which is a lot more messier. So I was getting the last bit of it out. It's almost as much to sell, but it's not quite all the way to the top, and I like it to get as close to the top as I can. Let's go ahead and get this thread cleaned off. And then, when the threads are good and clean, I'll take a lid. A lot of lids come with a safety seal, but I put an extra one in. So it's in it. What it does is it adheres to the lid. So I line it up, and then I push it down in the center and just kind of go through the bottom like this. And then I take a jar and put the lid on, and as you tighten it down, as it tightens, that seal will seal to the top of the jar. So now this is all nice and clean and sealed. I'll do that for the next couple ones. And I still do it for the little ones too. This one has a seal for your safety. It just keeps outside stuff from getting in there. Push down the middle, and then I push it around. And then I put it on. And that one's perfectly sealed now. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but push it down. Then I go around the edges. There's another one. Free from contamination, I guess is what I'm looking for. Finish these last two up. And this one will be Andrew's. So I'm hoping to, a lot of things going on in our lives, and I'm hoping to try and do a video a couple times a month anyways. Okay, that's Andrew's. I'm going to set it off to the side. But yeah, here we go. And then when we're all done with that, take a towel and spray it with some more rubbing alcohol. And just take it, actually, you know what? Since they're sealed, I can take my gloves off. Anyways, take the rubbing alcohol, wipe it around the lid and around the jar, just to get any oils off. And that'll help your labels stick and not peel off. Of course, it feels better, you know, not to have oil on there. Even though it's good stuff. So that's what we do. And I'll let this dry good, and I'll show you how I put the labels on. It's actually a little trick from a friend of mine, a YouTube friend of mine, Ellen Ruth. So she had mentioned how to do this, and I thought, oh, that's a great trick. I mean, if I would have thought about it, I probably would have come up with about the same thing, but, you know, sometimes when you see something, it's like, I'll just adopt that. Okay, oh, that's Andrew's. I'll put it over here. All right, let them dry, and I'll be back to show you how we put the labels on. Okay, so we're back to put the labels on. These are my labels. I foil my labels. I probably do it cheaper by just printing them. I'm not putting foil on, but I think it looks pretty. I think it adds a little something special to the packaging. So this is for the 5 ounce. Yeah, make sure you have the right thing. And what we do is, I hope you can see that. I just set them between 2 spatulas because they're round jars and they will roll. And this way, doing it this way holds them in place. And then I can hopefully get it on evenly like that. And then you have directions, ingredients, and your little sugar jar. I will also do a shrink wrap. I'll see if I can show you how I do that. I think my heat gun will reach this far, but I'll finish labeling these up. Okay, to do my shrink wrapping, I have a shrink wrap paper here. And then with the sugar scrubs, I add a little wooden spoon with the package. So I'm going to show you how I do this. And basically, shrink wrap you have to melt, or not melt, but heat it up and it'll shrink. And I just use I don't know which way it's going to be, a Wagner heat gun. Basically, it's to melt paint. You know, to heat up paint and let it melt off. So it gets really, really hot. So you have to be very careful with it because you can really burn yourself. And these shrink wraps, I got the ones that have the perforation in them. So it's easy to zip open and get to your product. I just set it on here like a sleeve. Just like that. Where's my... It's over here. And then I cover it down to cover the lid and the opening. And I just pull it back. And I stick a little spoon inside the shrink wrap. And then I turn my heat gun on. You can see the little spoon there. Turn the heat gun on. I'll try and bring this up close so you can see it. And just heat it up so it shrinks down to the size of your jar. And I always do the back first because there's extra. And it keeps the front from getting too bumpy looking. So here's the final package that's ready for sale. So it's shrink wrapped all around the edge here to keep air and stuff out. Keep it clean. And the little spoon. And then the product, name, directions, and ingredients. So I'll just finish up the rest of these.